Okay, let's take a look at your resume. I'm going to be throwing a lot of different windows in here, showing you some different guidelines, tools, things like that. So I'm sorry for the switching around of the windows just right off the bat. Keep in mind that your resume is probably the most important document that you're ever going to create. The main goal of the resume is to get you kind of past the person that screens the resumes. You want to catch their attention. You want to make sure that they see what they need to see in order to pass you on to the next level of the hiring process, where someone's actually going to call and do a preliminary interview. So your resume really does have to showcase certain key skills that they need to see. So keep that in mind as we're doing our revisions. This one is going to take a couple of revisions, the very first step. Let's get it into the general structure that we need, that's expected from those resume screeners. and then we'll come back to it and actually really try and pump up those bullet points. Okay, so what you're seeing on the screen right now primarily is the actual assignment that is in Blackboard. The sample that you see over here to the left, as well as the guidelines that I'm going to show you in a second, they are attached to the assignment, so you have access to these. Download them and look at them when you're doing your revisions. This other one, action verbs for resumes, can help with brainstorming on how to come up with bullet points that you're going to use in your resume. Because if you'll notice in the sample, all of these bullet points that describe how awesome you are, they all start with action verbs. And this list right here has a lot of suggestions, and they're even categorized by different skills that you might want to showcase. But let's get into the actual layout and format of your resume. I'm going to scooch this out of the way. Please remember, you can always go back to your Blackboard assignment. There, you'll notice there were definitely links in the assignment that had a lot of good assistance with bullet points, which can be difficult, okay? So right now I've got your resume sitting side by side with the sample resume that was provided in the assignment. And so right away you can see that the layout isn't quite matching what was provided in the assignment. There are a lot of good reasons to follow a standard layout like the one that's showing on the left. Hiring managers, or the people that are screening the resume before the hiring manager even gets to them, they give you about 5 seconds or so. That's it. They scan your resume. They're looking for some key points. I know, I've done this. And so there's a structure that they expect to see that makes it easy for them to find what they're looking for. So it's really important that we follow one of the standard structures, okay? Also, people that are scanning these resumes, the hiring managers, they expect you to have put more time into honing and perfecting this document than anything else. They expect it to be an example of the best work that you can possibly do. And so if it's not laid out cleanly, if there are typos, if there's anything unprofessional about it in any way, they're just going to swipe left on it, okay? Because if your very best work doesn't meet the standards that they expect, then what's your everyday work going to look like, right? That's the thought process. So let's go over here. I'm going to pause and then come back. Let's go over here and take a look at your resume side by side with the sample that you guys were provided. Okay, so here we have your resume set up side by side with the sample. Immediately you can see that obviously we need to add content here, but we want to make sure that the layout and the alignment is the way it's supposed to be. As mentioned in that resume guidelines document, also attached to your assignment, there are a lot of guidelines here as far as font, what should be what size, all that good stuff. So your name should be the biggest thing on the page. Don't make it obscenely huge, but it should be the largest thing on the page, like you see over here in the sample. Notice that the name is bigger than the rest, calls your attention to it. Yours doesn't really stand out from the rest of the document here, so definitely make the font a little bit bigger. Notice also you want the address, phone, and email, the contact information, to be nice and clean and center aligned and all of that good stuff. In the sample here, we have a little dot that is in the center separating things. There's also a bar, which is on the key right above the enter key on the keyboard, that a lot of people use to separate these things out. It just makes everything look nice and clean. Please just take a look at some samples on the internet. Don't be careful with templates, downloading templates, because those can be problematic in themselves. But look at how that top area is balanced and structured here. I'm going to pause a minute. I'm going to fix what you got here and then come back. Okay, so I went in and I deleted out all the tabs that you had going on there, and just put like 2 spaces, then the bar, then 2 more spaces between each of the things up here on your resume. I would highly recommend getting rid of that so that the hyperlink isn't active. It's just distracting and it makes things look cluttered. You'll notice down here that I actually put your LinkedIn link instead of putting your name and adding a hyperlink there. Not all of your applicant tracking systems, the database system they use to search people, can support hyperlinks like that. So it's best just to give them what your LinkedIn link is. We will talk more about your LinkedIn profile, but one of the features that you can actually do for your LinkedIn is have a customized URL that doesn't have all of these numbers in it. Like mine at the end says Professor V. Evans. And that is my branding that I use across all my social media platforms and everything. So if you have a brand, then you can use it, because you can only change that LinkedIn profile link one time. So you have to know what you want before you actually change it. But I highly recommend looking into doing that. We'll talk about that when we're looking at your LinkedIn resume. But you can see how the adjustment here, and I made your name a bit bigger, this just makes that heading area look just much more put together, okay? So first thing, we've got to clean up some of the structure. One of the links that you're going to have in the email with this feedback video is another video that I created on how to control bullet points and how to control tab stops. And you're definitely going to need the tab stop part in order to align these dates over here out to the far margin. They're tabbed over, but there's so much wasted space between them and the actual margin. We definitely need to fix that. Notice here in the sample, in the sample, every time I click it just changes the box, how narrow the margins are. And that's the kind of thing that's expected. We have, okay, it won't let me even escape. Okay, we have these lines here. We have sections that are larger than the regular text and really help to divide the different sections and make things stand out. We definitely need to look at just your general layout and fix these kinds of things. As far as your education goes, St. Augustine's University, Raleigh, identify what kind of degree that you're getting, because there are different types of degrees, from an associate's to a bachelor's to a master's. So verify what type of degree that you're getting and include it here. And the graduation, notice how we've got some things that should be pushed over here to the right margin. Experience, I wouldn't list food service area or tutoring, mentoring, counseling. Just list your experience, okay? You're going to follow the format under here. You don't have to say work experience. You can just say experience. And you'll have the name of your employer in bold, the name of your position in italics, and then some bullet points explaining what you did there, without just restating generally what that job does. Let me look at the time. I know this is long, sorry. Like if you bagged groceries at a Food Lion, you wouldn't include in the bullet points that you bagged groceries if your title says grocery bagger, because obviously that's what you do. What above and beyond do you do? Tell me more about what makes you special and how you do that thing. How do you bring value to your employer? These are the things that they're looking for with these bullet points on the resume. So the first thing we need to do, though, is get some structure fixed here. We definitely need some good solid bullet points. You can look at the sample for inspiration, or you can look at ChatGPT or one of the other AI tools. I'm pausing again because I'm going to pull in the ChatGPT and show you what I mean. Okay, I pulled in ChatGPT and I typed in the prompt that we're going to run with it. I didn't run it beforehand, so we're going to be seeing this in real time, both of us. And it might take a few tries before you get something that's actually workable. And again, the first thing we have to do is fix the structure of the resume, and then we'll come back and actually tweak content. But let's see what ChatGPT gives us here. Okay, all right. And if you haven't used ChatGPT, that's exactly how it works there. So I asked it for 5 resume bullet points for a fast food cook who wants to get into an entry-level help desk job. And so what it is showing you here is how you can pull from the experience that you have to make it relevant for the type of position that you want to get. All right. So I'm gonna just go through this. It's being recorded, so I'm just gonna go each one. All right. I asked for 5. Generally, what they are expecting on your resume is 3 bullet points per job, okay? The more recent your job, the more information they expect about it, all right? So you can, on your own, go to ChatGPT here and try different things. I noticed on your LinkedIn that you had a Bojangles listed and that you were a biscuit maker. Stay away from that kind of detail as far as a job title. You want to talk about your kitchen staff, things like that, okay? That'll broaden your experience scope a little bit without making it so targeted, because you don't want to work at Bojangles making biscuits forever. You never would have come back to school. So we definitely want to look at the broader picture of what you do there, and that's not making biscuits, okay? I'm watching the time here because I'm limited to 15 minutes. So, first off, take a look at the structure, layout, and try and make your resume look more like, let me get out of the way, more like what the sample is over here, okay? These lines under here, so education, if you want to put a line underneath that, let me uncollapse this ribbon here. Okay, so education, I just clicked in that so it knows where I want the line. And then I'm going to hit this border right here. And it puts a line underneath there. Okay, easy peasy. Boom. This is where I want another line. Boom. There we go. Okay. Simple. And again, make sure that you're following the format over here with your employer in bold, your position title in italics, and then under that are your bullet points where you're going to provide detail about the contribution that you made to your employer. We definitely want the city and state that the employer is located and your dates worked pushed all the way out to the right margin, and try and get these margins a little smaller. I realize that you probably made them big because you don't have a lot on here, but we're going to put a lot on here. So get that part fixed and resubmit it, and then you'll get another feedback video, okay?